Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Wisconsin MMA Today. I'm Scott Jaffe, and I'm joined by co-host Wisconsin Combat Sports' Paul Flatton.
Begin.
Wisconsin MMA Today here with Anthony Showtime Pettis. Anthony, big fight coming up, but you had a shoulder injury. Can you kind of walk us through that injury and where you are now?
Yeah, it's a shoulder injury that happened a while back in my career. I kind of rehabbed it so it was good enough to go. After the Lausanne camp and the Lausanne fight, I just couldn't go anymore. It's something I had to get taken care of. I had surgery done. I fought in February, had surgery done in April, rehabbed it. It said it was about 6 months, so I took all the time off, made sure it's 100%. I'm just really making sure the shoulder's good. This is something that's could potentially make my career end shorter or let my career last very long. So I want to make sure my body's ready to go. I'm a young kid, and not a young kid, I'm a young man, but I want to go for a while. So really taking care of the shoulder, and I think it's ready to go.
Big news has come out about a huge fight. Can you let us know who you're fighting and how excited you are for that?
Yeah, UFC Fox 6 right in my backyard, pretty much Chicago. The first time I fought, around my hometown for almost 4 or 5 years. I'm very excited. Cowboy Cerrone, he's been talking a lot of mess, and I'm just excited to get in there and show him and show the world what's up. I'm the #1 fighter in the lightweight division. I beat the guy who's the best already, and I just had a tough break the last couple years, and time to get back at it.
Over the last few months, it's been impossible not to see you and Cerrone having a beef on social media, on Facebook. How real is that beef, and how excited does that get you about this fight?
That beef's 100% real. On my end, more real because he had to lie about me ducking him and wanting to fight other people and didn't want to fight him. I was calling out the guy who whooped him. I mean, Nate Diaz put a whooping on him, and that's the guy I wanted to fight to prove that I was the #1 contender. That fight didn't happen. Nate got the title shot. So Cowboy, I feel like he just needed to get his name somehow relevant, so he had to talk stuff and get me amped up to fight him. And he didn't even have to do that. I mean, call me out and let's do it. That's all he had to do. So I'm very excited to have that fight and show him what's up.
You and Cerrone are both known for putting on some of the most exciting fights the UFC has ever seen. What should fans expect out of this one?
I think fans are already excited. I mean, when the two names were brought up together, fans were ready to watch it. I mean, it's two strikers, two fancy guys, two guys that don't quit. Both got heart, both talented. I mean, I have a lot of respect for his talent. I don't respect him as a person. He's a very talented guy, and it's going to be a tough fight. And I'm ready for that, and I'm going to train 100% and get ready for one of the toughest fights of my career.
What parts of his game do you respect the most?
Well, he's a long fighter. He's a long, lanky striker. I love striking. I love to stay at a distance. So I think he plays well into my game plan, but he's well-rounded everywhere. He adapts very well. We've seen him in the Melvin Gillard fight. He get caught early, adapted well to being rocked, and end up finishing Melvin. So I just have to be careful. This is a fight I can't make any mistakes, and I got to be very smart in my game plan.
In contrast, what aspects of your game should he have to respect when you guys fight?
I think everybody knows my striking. I mean, no one wants to stand with me. He's from Greg Jackson's camp. I fought Guido from Greg Jackson camp. I'm sure they're gonna have a similar game plan, try to take me down, grind me out. Hopefully it's not that way for the fans and for me, that he wants to stand and actually do what he said he was gonna do. But if not, I'm gonna be ready for everything.
When this fight goes down, is it an advantage to be so close to home, or is it a disadvantage?
I don't think it's either or. I mean, I'm so used to fighting in front of big crowds now. I mean, from Japan to Vegas. I mean, I'm so used to fighting in front of big crowds. I don't think it's going to play advantage or disadvantage for me. I think I'll be good at both.
Do you have a prediction for this fight?
Definitely me with my hand raised. I mean, there's no way I'm going to lose that fight. I'm going to do everything in my God's power that I can win this fight. I mean, there's no way I'm going to quit. He's not going to knock me out. I'm not going to tap. I'm going to go out there and implement my game plans to the fullest, and I just can't wait to put him on the ground.
Just a week ago, your brother looked amazing in his fight out in Vegas. Can you kind of tell us how you thought he was and where he's at in his career right now?
Serge, he had a tough fight, man. He was, he's 19 years old, young kid coming up. Probably had one of his toughest fights, and I never had a tough fight that way. So for him to have that experience, 15 minutes, having to adapt game plans, switch up game plans, and being on TV at that young of an age, I think all that plays in a role. It's gonna make him that much better when he gets older. I was very proud of him. He did work, and he took some damage, but he pulled through and he won the fight.
Last question. Why should people tune into Fox in January to watch you fight Donald Cerrone?
It's going to be one of the best fights, potential fight of the year. Me and Cowboy both come to bring it. I'm so amped up and so motivated to get my title shot that I'm leaving nothing, everything's going to be left in that octagon.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life. I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Rufus and Pettis Showtime Sports Bar, where you watch all MMA action on two 15-foot mega screens.
I'm MMA coach Duke Rufus, along with lightweight world champion Anthony Showtime Pettis. Come fight time, we want to see you at Showtime, Highland 100, 1 block north of Silver Spring.
Rufus and Pettis Showtime Sports Bar, where you watch the fights with the fighters.
I'm lightweight world champion Anthony Showtime Pettis, along with MMA trainer Duke Rufus. And come fight time, we want to see you at Showtime, Highway 100, 1 block north of Silver Spring.
I realized at that moment, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
We had been called up for the first time. Wildfires were getting close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
Wisconsin MMA Today here with Eric New Breed Koch. Eric, tough question to start out with, but you're coming off a huge injury after a huge opportunity against Jose Aldo. Can you kind of walk us through that injury and where you are in your recovery?
The injury actually happened back in my hometown. I went back for a family reunion, and I was just grappling, and it was just one of those things, heavy scramble, really sweaty, and I just felt my knee pop. And I actually didn't feel anything till the next morning, and it was swollen. I couldn't move it, and went in, and it was a partial tear, but it was so close to the fight that it wasn't going to work. I wasn't going to be able to train and get my weight down, so it wasn't realistic. But it was definitely a blow, because I knew what it meant. I knew what it meant when I got injured and I had to pull out, especially with all the talks of Edgar coming down to 45. I knew if I got injured that something like that would happen and I would lose my title shot. So it was devastating.
Now news just broke that you're going to be fighting Ricardo Lamas. How excited are you for that fight?
I'm excited, man. I knew I was going to lose the title shot, but this is title contention. The winner of this fight gets the next crack. So I'm super excited, and it's been a while since I've been in there. I just want to get in there and fight. I've been training for Aldo for 9 months and going through one of the most hellacious camps I've ever been through. So I just want to get in there and touch somebody.
When you see Lamas fight, what impresses you about his skill set?
He's a real strong featherweight, real powerful dude, really good on top. His submission game's really tight.
you know, he's well-rounded. He's good everywhere. But I don't think standing he's going to have anything for me. I think he's going to want to get it to the ground, and I'm going to want to keep it standing.
What aspects of your game should he be worried about?
Well, I'm a bigger featherweight myself, you know, and I'm no slouch on the ground. It just doesn't go there very often, you know. So, you know, if it does go to the ground, whether I'm on bottom or on top, he's got to be careful. You know, I'm not a weak featherweight. I'm not, you know, not bad on the ground. I'm actually pretty good. You know, most of my wins are by submission. So it's going to be a fun fight. It's going to be all over the place, that's for sure.
Coming off what would have been a title fight, how do you motivate yourself when your next bout is going to be on the preliminary card?
I'm just motivated to fight. You know, it goes back to the same thing. You know, training for as long as I have and just not fighting is frustrating. And so, you know, I care less. I'll get it on TV. You know, I'll put on a good performance. I'll get a knockout of the night or a fight of the night, submission night, whatever. I'll get it on TV.
You find yourself in a very crowded line to the featherweight title. Where would a win place you in the division?
Yeah, it puts me right there. You know, I stepped up when nobody else would against Aldo. You know, I wanted that fight. I wanted it for years. So I stepped up and I took the fight, and, you know, I'm still on a 4-fight win streak. I beat Lamas. Lamas has beaten all the other top contenders in the division. So I feel like that puts me right there.
As the injury played out, you actually had no fights in 2012. You know, what do you expect in 2013, and how's it going to be different?
I want to get a title shot and get as many fights as I can. I want to defend my title. I want to make up for lost time, you know. Like I said, nothing changed last year, just, you know, some shortcomings and some, you know, some fluke accidents, you know. Other than that, I was in the gym all the time, training constantly. So I'm just trying to put that behind me, not even think about it, you know, put me in a bad mood. I just want to look at the future and, you know, get a lot of fights in this next year.
Do you have a prediction for your fight against Ricardo Lamas?
Knockout.
What should fans expect to see from Eric Newbreed Koch and UFC on Fox 6?
They should expect fireworks, man. I'm hungry. I'm angry. I got something to prove. So definitely going out there, you're going to see the best Eric Koch.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That changed my life.
At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard. We're soldiers, always ready to protect our country. But we've also got communities. Family, friends, neighbors who count on us. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life. Somebody from my hometown. See what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.
Rufus and Pettis Showtime Sports Bar, where you watch the fights with the fighters.
I'm lightweight world champion Anthony Showtime Pettis, along with MMA trainer Duke Rufus. And come fight time, we want to see you at Showtime, Highway 100, 1 block north of Silver Spring.
Rufus and Pettis Showtime Sports Bar, where you watch all MMA action on two 15-foot mega screens.
I'm MMA coach Duke Rufus, along with lightweight world champion Anthony Showtime Pettis. Come fight time, we want to see you at Showtime, Highway 100, 1 block north of Silver Spring.
We had been called up for the first time. Wildfires were getting close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com. At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life. Somebody from my hometown. Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
All right, this next matchup is a North American Fighting Championship lightweight battle featuring out of the blue corner, representing Marshall Fight Team out of Marshall, Minnesota, Steve Sheik taking on out of the red corner, Rufus Sport MMA Academy's Larry Watson from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
right away they get stuff going. They both go for strikes early, as you're going to see here. And then right away, Larry's got a really good wrestling background. Kind of looks to do a trip or sweep there, but he falls going for a knee, and then Sheik's on top.
Yeah, he comes, tries to maybe do a little judo hip throw and goes right into the knee. So he's pulling out a couple different weapons here. It's a very action-packed bout, as we said. Here we are, only in the first few seconds of the bout. A lot of action and activity so far.
Yeah, of NAFC Armageddon, this is one of the most action-packed fights of the whole night. People were really excited throughout. Both guys went for big stuff throughout the entire fight.
Definitely nice crowd on hand. To Steve Sheik out of Marshall, Minnesota. Larry Watson, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, doing battle NAFC Armageddon.
Yeah, I talked to Scott Cushman, Larry's striking coach earlier, and he was saying that, he was really intrigued to see Larry fight. He was one of those guys in the gym that, waited his time, didn't jump in, didn't want to fight right away. He just wanted to take his time and learn how some of the basics. As you see here, he's definitely glad he learned it because he's really got to play some defense on the ground.
Yeah, I know Coach Rufus and Cushman try to have their amateur fighters at least fight 10 amateur bouts. I mean, it's statewide 5 amateur bouts before they can turn pro. But good thing with Rufus Sport, looking to have their fighters really improve their skills before they look to turn pro. Very smart here. Watson now trying to gain some control.
Yeah, they're definitely going back and forth and kind of playing that chess match as you see through the night. But a lot of times they're both able to get to their feet and get back to the exciting parts that fans like to watch.
Let's see how Watson and Sheik fare here in the striking department. Watson throwing some kicks, looking good, trying to some feints right there.
Yeah, definitely. His left foot looks strong already as well. Early he kind of he's dropped a few times, just kind of losing his balance, but his striking looks good.
At least he's not afraid to throw the kick. He attempted that knee. He's pulling out a whole bunch of different things, like I said, from his arsenal. It's not just being a one-dimensional grappler. He's afraid to try anything else and get out of his comfort zone.
Absolutely. And in amateur MMA, you're supposed to be out there trying stuff that you're not great at. You saw that he could rely on this wrestling background like he did and get the takedown when he wants it. But throughout the fight, that's not what he relied on. He kind of did everything, and he worked all parts of his game, and we're going into the mount.
Again, as we saw in NAFC Armageddon, very well matched bounce by matchmaker Mike Camp on this card. Over 20 bouts overall, 28 fights I think NAFC Armageddon had on that night.
It was a full night, but as we'll see later on during the season when we see other fights, people were excited the entire night. So when you put that many fights together and keep people's interest, you did something right.
Exactly, Paul. Watson, he's got top position.
Yeah, just really staying in there. And a lot of, when you get in this, especially amateur, a lot of times you think it may be over, but Sheik does a good job holding out, not really, just waiting for the bell. You get saved by the round, but definitely Watson took that one with the strikes early and the last strong position.
Heading into round 2, this lightweight North American Fighting Championship battle. NAFC Armageddon. Again, out of the blue corner, representing Marshall Fight Team, Marshall, Minnesota, is Steve Sheik. Red corner, representing Rufus Sport MMA Academy, Larry Watson out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
It's always fun, too, when you see these interstate matchups, because, it's hard to know what other teams have amateur. It's just not something that's really known that well. So when you really get to match your skill set against others and see where you guys fall against one another.
I think it was 8 or 9 different gyms, possibly 10 represented on NAFC Armageddon, including a few folks coming from Minnesota.
Yeah, that's always shows some strength when you're able to get all that many people coming that far for an amateur, be an amateur pro.
We are entering round 2. Fighting on the red corner, Larry Watson. Blue corner, Steve Sheik.
As we saw right in the first one too, it's just very exciting action. These guys are not just sitting back and waiting; they're going at it right away. And you see Sheik be able to get the trip and get him down to the ground early, but Watson with the quick sweep himself.
Yeah, the crowd really into this fight.
Yeah, and Watson gets you get in that position and getting the drops, trying to get some throws down. But Sheik, he's still trying to save himself.
Larry throwing some big bombs from on top, but Sheik gets back to his feet.
Yeah, right back up like they have. And that's a
huge
left hand. Huge left hand. A lot of people, you could just hear it, but people thought it was over there. But Watson does a great job biding his time on the ground. This one, you wonder why Sheik didn't jump in. He tries there, but you got to take advantage of that when you have your guy injured.
And Watson able to regain his composure.
You know, he puts the knee on the stomach and looks like he's going to be able to jump into guard or into mount. But Watson does a great job again, biding his time and just not allowing it. Right up there, you see, both guys are going to try getting up here right on the National Guard sign. And Sheik's going to try to throw, but he's running not out of gas, but he's definitely slowing down. So now it's, Watson's turn to again bide time and find a way to get back to his feet or get himself in a position where he can end the fight.
Yeah, it definitely seems like he let Watson back into that fight when he had him.
Yeah, you just got to be careful. As you see right here, he gets up and just lets him up, and I think a lot of people are, kind of questioning that move. But maybe he thought that he had the better ability on the feet, but it just hasn't shown that. Besides that one straight left. Boom. Watson lands his own straight left as soon as he had the opportunity, and that's it.
Seals the deal with a backflip. Give him off on the landing. And there you have it, a knockout. In the second round, Roufusport MMA Academy's Larry Watson defeating Marshall Fight Team's Steve Sheik out of Marshall, Minnesota. NAFC Armageddon, there is your lightweight winner, Larry Watson over Steve Sheik.
All right, Wisconsin MMA Today reporter Paul Fladden here with Larry Watson, who just made his MMA debut and may have taken the fight of the night and knockout of the night honors. How do you feel about that performance?
I feel great. I felt awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better amateur debut. I really couldn't.
You come in here with stellar wrestling background, and then you really show some striking. How has your game evolved since going to Roufusport and everything?
Roufusport's a striking gym, and I really wanted to find myself as more than just a wrestler, So that's why I try to, put them legs on them. So that's what I did.
You train with some really big guys. Who are some ones that have given you some pointers and helped your game evolve so far?
I would say Koch, big time. Because he's a southpaw like myself, so I just have so much to learn from him, so I'm like a sponge.
What's next for you? When do you want to fight again?
I don't know, maybe take a couple weeks off, and I'll take the one as soon as possible.
Excellent. Congrats, man.
Definitely going to stay training, though.
Definitely. Congrats, buddy. Thanks, man. Awesome.
I remember the moment clearly,
I'll never forget that moment.
as long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
Rufus and Pettis Showtime Sports Bar, where you watch the fights with the fighters.
I'm lightweight world champion Anthony Showtime Pettis, along with MMA trainer Duke Rufus. And come fight time, we want to see you at Showtime, Highway 100, 1 block north of Silver Spring.
Rufus and Pettis Showtime Sports Bar, where you watch all MMA action on two 15-foot mega screens.
I'm MMA coach Duke Rufus, along with lightweight world champion Anthony Showtime Pettis. Come fight time, we want to see you at Showtime, Highway 100, 1 block north of Silver Spring.
At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life. Somebody from my hometown. Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
We had been called up for the first time. Wildfires were getting close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
Hi, I'm Duke Rufus, head coach of Roufusport MMA team. Today we're going to be showing some of our striking. One of my favorite techniques that I'm known for and our team's known for is the roundhouse kick to the leg. I love a good leg kick. It changes a fight, sometimes even stops the opponent or sets up great head kick or punch knockouts. And I have with me today UFC star, good friend of mine, Eric Koch. So we're going to show you how to leg kick someone. All right, we're going to set up the low round kick to the leg. We're going to get in our stances. Very important in MMA is we got to realize when to throw the leg kick and when not to throw the leg kick. It's very important. A couple recent fights, Kung Lee and Rich Franklin. Rich Franklin threw the leg kick without moving his head, and he got caught by Kung Lee, KO'd. Danny Castillo versus Mike Johnson. He penetrated too deep with his head and got knocked out. So that's one thing. It's also very easy. Mike Swick recently, he caught DeMarcus Johnson's low kick and took it as a takedown, and he ground and pounded to victory. So it's very important is the usage of the leg kick. Well, like I say, jump shots are great in basketball, but I wouldn't do a jump shot under the basket. I've got to be farther out from the hoop. I can't be under that. It's time to lay up. Punches, knees, elbows, those are layups. A little bit farther out, I'm using the kick. So a couple different ways I can do it. I can maybe give him a quick kick to find my range. I'm using my shin, my hip. As you can see, I'm not penetrating and driving into him as much. One of my favorite ways is Dutch style kickboxing. I like to punch at him. I get him in this position where he can't see the leg kick, and I drive the leg kick through. I like to whip that shin right into the side of his leg, right above his knee. That's where it hurts the most. It's hard for him to grab. So that's one of the other ways. Another way that one of my favorite times to leg kick, a lot of people will kick at you. I'll block. Boom. After they kick, they're very relaxed. Or even when they front kick at me, they'll kick, relax. That's when I like to bake them with the leg kick. And the nice thing, the leg kick isn't the finish, it's the beginning. Because what happens, if I catch him with a good leg kick off any of these moves, boom, I get him. Look, he's here for punches, he's here for knees, he's here for elbows, all kinds of fun stuff. And again, it's very hard for him when I'm doing the leg kick right to punch me while he's catching the leg kick. And again, that's just the outside leg kick. I can use the inside leg kick. I'm kicking upward, and I can, as I get trickier, if he's good at blocking, I go around and kick the back leg. So there's so many different possibilities with the leg kick. It's a great technique, and obviously you think of Muay Thai, you think of Dutch kickboxing when you think about a leg kick.
Thank you for tuning in to Wisconsin MMA Today and supporting mixed martial arts in our community. I'm Scott Jaffe.
And I'm Paul Vladimir.
And we'll see you next week.